Breaking the Silence is a podcast that dives into the intricate and often challenging topics of grief and loss within relationships. Through insightful discussions, the podcast aims to explore how pain can be transformed into purpose, leading to healing and growth. By addressing themes such as inner child work and the journey towards feeling alive once more, this podcast offers a beacon of hope for those navigating difficult emotions. Ultimately, Breaking the Silence aims to guide listeners towards moving forward and embracing all the blessings that life has in store as they embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual fulfillment. I'm your guide through this journey, Renee Wallace, and I invite you to join me as we break the silence surrounding grief and loss, transforming pain into purpose and finding hope in the healing power of storytelling. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome. Hey, I am so happy that you're here with me. And this is like another just spur of the moment recording. I was actually just thinking about some things, taking my vitamins and everything and thinking about some things. And I just felt like this was so deep in my heart as I was pondering this that I was like, oh my goodness, I need to record this because this doesn't need to be something I'm just thinking in my head for somebody. It needs to be something that is spoken, that I want you to hear this. So I just want to say, I am so sorry for whoever hurt you, for whoever it was that maybe didn't show up in the way that you needed, for maybe the inconsistency or the trauma, the neglect, not showing up for you emotionally, not showing you, not being capable or having the capacity to be who you needed them to be. I am so sorry for that. And I just really felt like I wanted to share that with you. And everything that I've shared about attachment styles so far and how that comes from what we learned in our childhood and with our caregivers, I don't ever share that in a way of even shaming them or it's our parents' fault or any of that. Again, that stuff is not beneficial. They had their own woundings too. So, and they could only show up to what they knew. So have compassion for your parents too, and just know that they were doing the very best they could with what they had. And I believe that is where it's now our responsibility, once we know better, to learn how to do better. And that's how we break generational curses, because that's what this is, right? They learned something from their parents, and so it's what they grew up with, and then they show up in that way for you and for me. And it's just this cycle. And then we will do it with our kids if we don't change the cycle. So I don't know. This really isn't meant to be a long podcast. I just was really thinking about what we can grow up with and what we then believe about ourselves and the wounds that it causes. And just wanting you to know that no matter what happened to you in your childhood, it was not your fault. You did nothing wrong. You were a child. Whatever stories you created around that and you made those things mean, does not mean that it is truth. It does not mean that you are defective, that you're broken, that you're not good enough, that you're unlovable. And I know so many of those beliefs that people do believe because of coaching and all that I've learned. And there can be healing around the stories and the beliefs and the behaviors that then come with that. Because what we do is we have this core belief of ourself, right? And from that core belief, and of course, again, if I was in coaching with somebody, if I was in coaching with you, we would uncover all these things of what your core belief is of yourself. But you have this core belief of yourself. And from that, then that is how you relate to yourself. And we would break down all that. And then from how we relate to ourselves, we have behaviors that we use. And those behaviors then reflect in our relationships and our circumstances. And then so like if you think of a big circle, just think of a big circle, and at the top would be your core belief. And then it would go to around like clockwise to how we relate to ourselves, and then down to the bottom, our behaviors. And then our behaviors go around as we go to the upswing of the clock, like a quarter till, your circumstances and relationships. And then what happens in our circumstances and our relationships then goes back up to the top to confirm our core belief of self. So until we really heal those wounds, that's really what is going on there. Like we just that's the cycle there, and we confirm it by the things we do that then lead right back to our core belief. And like, see, I knew it. I don't matter. Or whatever your core belief is. I'm defective. I'm broken. Whatever that is. I'm alone. So anyways, I'm sort of even going off a little bit on other things. That wasn't the point of it. It was more, I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for what you experienced. And if nobody has ever told you that, I'm saying it for them. I am so sorry. I hope that somehow just gives you some kind of comfort, or some kind of maybe even feeling like somebody sees me. Somebody sees what I'm going through, or somebody hears me. Somebody else understands it. I want you to know I do. I understand those wounds, and I understand how scary it can be sometimes to look at them. I was on a live yesterday, and the woman was sharing that she is a dismissive avoidant. I can't remember what her husband's attachment style was, but she was saying she wants to heal, and she wants to show up better for him. But she was sharing that she was so scared to unpack the trauma that she's been through. And so just know that you're seen and heard and understood. I get it. You're not alone in it. Reach out to me in whatever you have going on. I'm always willing to listen. And just know that I send you off with so much love. I hope that this encourages you a little bit today. And I will talk with you soon. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking the Silence. As we conclude our time together, let us carry forward the stories we've heard, the emotions we've shared, and the connections we've forged. Remember, the journey through grief and loss is not one we walk alone. In the silence, we find solidarity. In our shared experiences, we find strength. And in our vulnerability, we find resilience. If you or someone you know is navigating the complexities of grief, know that there is support available. Reach out, lean on your community, and remember that healing is not linear. It's a journey, and you are not alone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part of this community. Until next time, may you find peace in the spaces between the silence. Please be sure to subscribe below and leave us a review. If you'd like to connect further, you can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Renee. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking the Silence. As we conclude our time together, let us carry forward the stories we've heard, the emotions we've shared, and the connections we've forged. Remember, the journey through grief and loss is not one we walk alone. In the silence, we find solidarity. In our shared experiences, we find strength. And in our vulnerability, we find resilience. If you or someone you know is navigating the complexities of grief, know that there is support available. Reach out, lean on your community, and remember that healing is not linear. It's a journey, and you are not alone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part of this community. Until next time, may you find peace in the spaces between the silence. Please be sure to subscribe below and leave us a review. If you'd like to connect further, you can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Renee.